tried all the rest? Learn from the best. Join WDGLC.com today.
Hey there everybody, it's Wayne D, and welcome to the website, WayneDFrancesco.com. We're looking at Francesco Molinari by request. Just ended up in the last match against Tiger Woods in the Ryder Cup. Nice looking golf swing. Let's take a look. Got a nice view from behind, the only one I got that where the camera wasn't moving around, so we can draw a few lines on that one. Thank you to Terry out in San Francisco for all the great pictures that he takes. I borrow them every now and then. So we got a nice shot here of a driver down the line. Camera is 99% steady, so we're good to go here. Front view camera a little off and moving around a little bit, but still nice picture. You can see quite a bit from the front view too here. So let's take a look at let's go down the line first. We'll talk about that. So I guess this is what you would call, it's a very interesting swing. I'd call it very mechanically sound. Does a lot of the things that I focus on and prefer in the swing. It does some things that I don't. But as you can see, you're not going to line up a takeaway much better than that. Now most of his swings, when he gets to parallel to the ground, the club face is not quite toe up, and the club just breaks under the right arm just a little bit, but comes up. So the wrists are helping that club up pretty good. So you can see it's going to get a little bit more vertical than the plane, but not much. Pretty close. Left wrist is staying cupped. The face is opening gradually. So at left arm parallel, you can see the right elbow has reached the side of his back. So if we look at the progression, when you see that, you're not usually going to see much more than 7 or 8. So that's a 7. So that's pretty neat. A strong, stocky kind of guy. Nice control of the right arm there. You can see the head doesn't really drop in the backswing. Very, very stable up on that line. Same thing with the lower body. Pretty even movement there. You can see this guy's strong. I mean, this is a slow-mo swing, so we don't get the rhythm. I have a 1 or 2, but you can definitely see that shaft bending a little bit at the top.
Learn the pivot compression golf swing. Join WDGLC.com today.
Now, this is really something I really like to talk about. The end of the grip. Watch the butt of the club. The initial movement, first couple inches, right down the high line toward the ball. Look at the head. So the head is going to descend and, you know, compared to a lot of guys, that's not a whole lot, but still, to get that drive off the right leg to the left in that forward swing, you'll see the head drop. Yeah, it's probably 2 to 3 inches there. And as that's happening, you can see the unwind in the body. He's a hair late with the legs compared to some guys. You can see the left knee disappears right about there. If you look at old Tiger, you'd see his arms would be up here and his left knee would be gone. Now he's more like this, but and then there are guys that don't clear it quite as fast. So a tiny little back up at the head. You can see the club's coming in underneath his arms just a little bit, so looks like a swing that's going to hit more of a right to left type action. And again, sometimes camera placement makes a difference. If this camera is out toward the ball like it appears to be, then that will skew the view of the shaft as it arcs around. It won't quite match up. So I would take that with a grain of salt. As I look at this, it would appear the camera is a little bit more on the ball line than you might like it. Now, hips nicely back in the box. He's a thick guy, so his right side, usually thick guys usually end up outside the box depending on their knee flex at address. Molinari doesn't have a ton, so he ends up, he's a little wider than the box. So, but take a look at the release action. I really like the way that right hand in that throwing motion releases like that. There's another guy who did that. Show you. Same sort of thing. So might be late with his hips, but he certainly is rotating them hard as he hits that ball. So, all right, so let's take a look at that front view picture here. Now this camera's moving around, so we can't really draw any lines, but let's take a look. I like the look of the arms, not tight, pretty soft. There's the width in the takeaway. Now the camera's a little behind him here, so, but you can see that space right there. So I always like that. And if the camera was over in front of him more, you'd see space between the end of the grip and the leg. So when his left arm is parallel to the ground, you take a look at how much his chest is already moved. So this is another thing that I like is a pivot-oriented takeaway and backswing where the body coils up fairly early. And you can see it in Molinari. He's just built thick, so when he turns that much, the end of his swing is going to be 3/4 at the most. But look at the amount of turn he's got, tight and 90 degrees. He's got his right foot really straight ahead, so he's not worried about taking a big old swing and freeing up his motion. He's all about coiling and tightening. So very interesting when you look at the wrist, you don't see too many tour players who are at 90 degrees when the left arm is just parallel to the ground. So you take an average guy who looks like that, by the time he hits the ball, he's going to be even with it and scooping it up. But of course, being as good as Molinari, as you can see, he saves almost all of it. And again, while we don't have quite the right camera angle, you can pretty much bet that the club is not quite up to the ball there. Again, for a tour player, that's a little bit wide on the release, but watch the footwork. You can see the drive over to the outside of that left foot, so he's really pushing the hips. So, and if we wanted to see how much the hips are moving, there's the edge. Camera doesn't move. Look at that. Now that's some serious. The old Trevino slide and turn. I call it a 45-degree push. Great footwork. Now when you come in wide, it's probably not going to sustain like a, like a Sergio or some of the guys that really get past the ball. But just great drag in through the ball and good ball striker. He's got the nice pose at the finish. Now another thing we can see when we look at where the hips start here, you can tell that right hip certainly not going sideways. You can see the little bit of a tilt here. But all in all, very, very stable. Most people really need a little more freedom in the lower body, but exceptional athletes like Molinari, plus built like he is, he uses that upper body strength to great advantage. So here's a, so you can see, we look at that at regular speed again. Nice quick action, simple, not wristy certainly, full finish, and gives it a good whack. Always kind of like to watch swings at regular speed. Alright, so really good looking action. I like the out move of the hands for sure. That's for sure. Got the takeaway, even though the right arm looks like it might want to get a little jammed up, it just folds right up into perfect position. So great control of the wrists, nice club face angle. There's the out move. Everyone's calling that the over the top move, but everybody seems to be doing it, as well as the compression move, and those two things go together. Now one thing you won't see, he doesn't really squeeze the right arm in early. So that right arm action dictates where that forearm is going to be on the approach. He's a little high. And when the forearm comes in high, the left wrist has to bend down a little bit. But he looks like he's got that pretty much under control. Nice looking action.